Good evening, dear friends. How are you all doing? So first of all, I want to thank Mark, first of all, for being one of our captains, together along with Perry. We've gone through some choppy waters this year. But I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak here as I roll off the board and just share with all of you. Hold on to your kippas over here, huh? I just want to share publicly on the record that I plan on peacefully rolling off, peaceful transfer of power. You don't have to worry about me. So thank you for that opportunity. But dear friends, you know, you didn't ask me this. I don't know who approved this meeting right now, but I didn't vote on it. But you couldn't have chosen a better date to be gathering here today for our annual event, to be celebrating Jewish Family Service, celebrating what this organization does, and recommitting ourselves to it. It's a little bit overcast, but sometimes at this hour, you could see the moon. So if you were to look out today and this evening and look out for the moon, you actually won't see it. Today, right now, is what we call the rebirth of the moon. The moon over the past 29 and a half days, roughly, has been waxing and waning. And right now, we are going through the rebirth of the moon, which means that we are about to celebrate on the Jewish calendar tonight, Rosh Chodesh, a brand new month, Rosh Chodesh Sivan. The first day of the month of Sivan, the month that historically we mark when the Jewish people arrived at Mount Sinai and received the Torah 3,336 years ago. And on this date that we are about to celebrate this evening, Rosh Chodesh Sivan, the Torah says, what happened on this date? Special date. You know what happened today? Nothing. You don't believe me? Look it up in the Bible. It literally says that. Today, the Jewish people came to Mount Sinai and they said, okay, Moses, what's on today's agenda? Nothing. That's it. And it's like a weird thing. Everybody wonders, number one, if nothing's happening, usually the history books don't say, today, nothing happened. It's anticlimactic, no? You know? You say what's important. But number two, it just doesn't make sense. The Jewish people have been so excited, have been working up for this day, have been schwitzing and schlepping and walking to reach this Mount Sinai. And they arrive and let's just take it easy today. It's just something doesn't add up. And the hint is that the Torah tells us about the day and then something is off. So, there's definitely something happening here. So what's happening? The great medieval sage, Rashi, Rabbi Shlomo Yitzchaki, lived about 1,000 years ago. The commentator of commentators, the super commentary. He comments on the verse where it says, and the Jewish people reached Mount Sinai, and they encamped there at the foot of the mountain. And Rashi says, look at the wording very carefully. It says, Vayichan Sham Yisrael, neged ahar. Vayichan, which means, and he encamped. Encamped in the singular form. Every other time that the Torah describes the Jewish people reaching an encampment, it says, Vayachanu, which is proper grammar. And they encamped. What's and he encamped? And Rashi says this teaches us that at this moment of history, when the Jewish people reached Mount Sinai, the Jewish people stood there, ki ish echad belev echad. The Jewish people stood there like one man with one heart. And that is why the Torah describes it, Vayichan, and he encamped there. It wasn't a them, it was a he. It wasn't a people, it was a person. We know that generation of Jews was quite talented in fighting, kvetching, rebelling, whatever you want. They've done it all. And at that moment, they experienced Jewish unity. This is what this day of history marks. The day in which our people discovered for the first time Jewish unity, and Jewish love, Jewish brotherhood. What better day is there to be celebrating, to be sitting here today, celebrating what we've done, celebrating what we're going to do, and recommitting for this organization which truly embodies this value, that the other Jew is not a stranger, they are not the other, they are simply a part of us, like one man with one heart. And what does the Torah say? The Torah describes why Moses didn't want to give the Jewish people any instructions. The Torah says Moses remained silent because the people were tired of their journey. What's really happening over here is not that the people were tired from the walking, from the camping, from the trekking. Moses wanted this day to be all about this one specific mission. Don't say too many things or else people hear nothing. One message. This day has no other message besides unity, the love. Ish echad b'lev echad. And what we learn from that is that this takes effort. This takes effort. We have to be willing to put in the effort. Moses said, I don't want you to do anything else. Today is a day to cultivate this Jewish unity. And the Torah describes it. The people were tired. It took a lot of hard work. The journey from within to beyond yourself, to embrace the other. The journey from self-centeredness to being self-absorbed, looking at the other as someone else, and making that true leap to bond with somebody else. You know, dear friends, I want to share with you on a practical note. You know, there's a great story I heard a few years ago. There was an elder statesman in the state of Israel, and he was involved in politics his whole life, and he was a lifelong loyal member of a right-wing party in Israel, or as today we would call them far right, right? And he's at the end of his line. He's sitting on his deathbed, surrounded by family. They know the time is near, and he says, quickly, please go bring me the official papers, the Knesset papers, with which I could change parties. I would like to right now change my party that I belong to. He said, what, now? Yeah, right now. They bring him the papers. And his children see on his deathbed, he is filling out that he is switching over to the most left party in Israel. And the kid said, Dad, what's going on? Your whole life you've been loyal and you've served with this party, and last minute you're going to switch? Don't do this. And Dad says, listen, kids, if one of us have to die, at least we'll be one of them. We know how to fight. We know how to argue. And dear friends, we all know that between this annual meeting and next year's annual meeting, there's going to be an election year, which is a year when sometimes Jewish unity becomes compromised, and the love and the loyalty and the brothership, the true care and concern that we have to feel for each other gets lost sometimes. And we tear at our own seams. And I want to encourage you to take the inspiration from what we are celebrating right now in the Jewish calendar, and what we are celebrating right here together, right here, the message, the very mission statement of Jewish Family Service, that every single Jew is our own brother, our own sister. Let us not hurt ourselves. And one final story. There was a rabbi of a synagogue, and he put in the hard work, an ambitious rabbi, to do a new renovation and expansion of the synagogue. He spent years and years, went over budget, fundraised his head off, and he went right over it. He worked so hard, but finally, after years and years and years, and the money, and the builders, and the contractors, and the township. Anybody here from the township? Okay, no. I don't want to offend anybody. Okay. It's finally ready. And there's one Sunday afternoon that they scheduled the ribbon cutting ceremony, and they're down to the wire. And that Sunday morning, the truck is there pouring the fresh concrete, and they have it yellow taped off. And then at 12:30, Hebrew school is out. It's Hebrew school pickup. The rabbi is there overseeing the final moments, final preparations for the event. And two rowdy kids from the Hebrew school are running around. And they run straight into the freshly poured concrete. The rabbi is already at his wit's end, already, and he sees this. And that's it, he loses it. And he starts screaming at the kids, "Don't you see where you're walking? What?" Right then, one of the parents driving, he sees what's happening. The rabbi is screaming at his kids. And he pulls down the window and says, "Rabbi, didn't you teach us that you're never allowed to scream at the kids?" So the rabbi turns and he's livid and he says, yes, I did tell you that. But that was in the abstract. This is in the concrete. Dear friends, I want to thank Jewish Family Service, our staff, the board. I'm going to miss you a lot. The board who carries the burden, Mark, who's been carrying our burden, Perry. I want to thank you all for everything you do for this community. That this message, Ki ish echad b'lev echad, being there for every single Jew, is not in the abstract. It's not a slogan. It's not something rabbis get to talk about from the pulpit, but it's in the concrete. It's really where it happens. I want to thank you all, and I want to wish you all that Hashem should give you tremendous success, tremendous strength, and you should see the godly power carrying you and giving you lift to be successful above and beyond and everything for the coming year for our community. Thank you all so much, and have a wonderful evening. That's how we do it, right?
Yeah, no, give me.
There we go. Love you, Mark.
We'll see you.
Wow.